Have you ever felt like part of you was missing? As if your heart just wasn't the same since that difficult breakup, or as if part of your soul actually shot out of your body during a car accident or a trauma? If so, it may mean that soul retrieval is the missing piece to unlocking a door to a life of abundance and wholeness. Hi, I'm Kristen Boyer, and I'm a shamanic practitioner and a soul retrieval specialist in New York City. I work with my clients who are feeling stuck in patterns of behavior to regain any lost pieces of themselves, to give them balance and wholeness. I met Kathy about a year ago. She had originally found me because she was interested in health coaching and healing a chronic yeast infection. When we began talking about her diet and lifestyle and how long she had had this infection in her body, she began to reveal details of emotional disconnect since the onset of this illness. She had mentioned that it had been about 5 years since she had been struggling with this health concern, so I asked her, "Kathy, what happened 5 years ago?" Kathy paused for a minute, and then she told me that 5 years ago she had walked in on her husband committing suicide. She assured me that everything was okay now, that in that moment she was able to snap into fight-flight response. She ran into the room where he had hanged himself, cut down the noose, and called the ambulance, just in time for them to bring him back to life and fully heal him. I asked Kathy how she had been doing ever since that moment. She said that he was doing great. In fact, he had had a sort of spiritual rebirth and was more connected to his heart and was full of vibrance for life. But when I asked how she was doing, she said that she had been disconnected ever since. It was as if part of her heart had disconnected from her, and she felt like her and her husband Steve just didn't have the same connection anymore. She said it was ironic because he was the one that took his life, but she felt like she was the one that lost hers. So I asked Kathy if she would be interested in working through these health concerns on a spiritual level with soul retrieval. She agreed to the work, and when I went into a shamanic trance and into a journey to connect with her lost essence, I quickly found that Kathy was standing in the doorway of her old apartment. When I approached this piece of Kathy, I asked her, "What happened? Why did you leave?" She folded her arms and looked at me and said, "You think I'm going to go in there with that?" I quickly apologized to the soul part, and I said, "What's going on? Why did you have to leave your body?" She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "There was no time for me to feel. If I would have taken the moment to feel guilt, feel shame, or feel sadness for my husband, I would have lost his life. There was no time for me to think or to feel. I had to just go and do." I asked this part of Kathy if she would be ready to come back, and I assured her that things had shifted and that her husband was now healthy and happy. She said that she would love to come back, and I watched all of this light and essence come back into her body and fill her completely until she was bursting with light and joy. I asked if she would come back, and she said yes. So I gathered all of Kathy's energy, all of this vibrance, and all of this love, and I blew it back into her body. Immediately, when she opened her eyes, she just seemed brighter. But she waited until about 2 weeks later to call me and let me know how things had progressed. She admitted that she had never told Steve that she was doing this shamanic work, but that he had noticed everything. "The old Kathy's back," he said. "The old Kathy's back. Here she is." She said that since then, they had been able to cultivate a closer relationship. It was as if she had finally picked up where she had left off with him 5 years ago. But now they had the opportunity to truly open up their hearts and delve into a deeper level of their relationship and their own love. So with telling this, I call you to close your eyes and bring your attention to your heart center. I want you to take a moment to imagine a piece of yourself that may have gone missing at some point in your life. To think about a time in which you lost your essence or your power. if you could just see that part in front of you and hold that part in your heart. I want you to imagine how abundant and full your life could be if only you were to connect with that peace and embody that power fully. If you've resonated with any part of my story, I welcome you to learn more about Soul Retrieval and to see if Soul Retrieval might be the missing piece to your abundant and full life. To learn more or read articles connected to Soul Retrieval, I welcome you to visit my website, www.kristenboyer.com. Have a blessed and abundant day.